talk about my business. I'm gonna sit and talk about
Yandy, all right.
The argument between Yandy Smith and Rasheeda Frost on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta Season 13 is the exact kind of drama that exposes the truth about friendships in this industry. This wasn't just another shouting match for the cameras. This was years of loyalty, betrayal, and bottled-up tension spilling out in one explosive scene.
Rasheeda never had the courage to come to my face and have a conversation when she had so much to say behind my back, and so much to say on podcasts, and so much to say here in this confessional room. But now all of a sudden, that I'm calling it for what it is, you, Kirk, and Jasmine, and I done let people know what I know it to be, now you want to have a conversation. You've been projecting on me for far too long, and I'm about to shine this projection right at you and yours. I'm glad you decided to show up. I've been here for a while. You've had a lot to say, so I'm here.
You said I have a lot to say?
I said I've heard you've had a lot to say, so I'm here to hear all the things you've had to say.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Okay. Me too. I heard you say a whole lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you almost can't stop talking about me and Kirk.
You've been on podcasts.
Girl, I did one more podcast.
That's enough.
Speaking the truth.
What truth?
The truth is...
The truth is what?
Speaking the truth.
What truth?
Because I said you wasn't married?
Again.
Bitch, you said that yourself.
Exactly. So what difference does it make for you?
Because I was asked a question and I answered it.
But why are you asking any questions about me?
First off, either we gonna talk.
Let's not. No.
Either we gonna talk and have a grown woman conversation, or we gonna dig it. Because I'm not here for that whack ass, weak ass, weird ass you be on. I came into this whole situation, walked into this place thinking, I'm about to have a conversation with a bitch who was acting like she was talking to somebody on a house phone that wasn't plugged in the wall.
Didn't need a lot of props. You know, for guys, take the shirt off, get some baby oil. He looks good, so it's fine, it's okay.
Now y'all know this about to be some bull.
We're not gonna talk about marriage.
That's your problem. You don't have a piece of mind.
I don't want the piece of paper you got.
You don't even stand on 10 about.
What you gotta do is
you're running around calling
nobody
Jasmine,
called anybody.
Calling everybody who would listen. Rasheeda ain't my friend. Rasheeda ain't my friend.
Girl, are you out of your mind? Let me explain something to you. What I'm not gonna do is sit here and play games with you. Every single thing you say, you need to make sure you come say it to my face.
Baby, I'm right here. I would tell you, you're a deflector.
I'm not.
You're a compulsive liar.
I'm not. Where?
You're
when?
a compulsive. All the time.
All you do is sit around and laugh. You laugh and you joke. And right as your marriage is bleeding out.
Guess what?
Bleeding out. It's embarrassing.
You know what your problem is?
I don't have a problem.
You have a huge problem.
That's your problem. You are obsessed.
Girl,
you are so obsessed. And the thing is, while I'm out here yelling for the culture, you pressed. You gotta go be pressed somewhere else.
Because the thing is, yes, I am pressed. Very happy, very good.
If I'm gonna sit and do a podcast,
Yandy, let's be
I'm
clear.
gonna sit and talk about my business. I'm gonna sit and talk about
Yandy, all right.
I'm gonna sit and talk about that.
What I'm not gonna do is play this game
I'm not gonna sit and talk about somebody else.
I'm not gonna play this game with you. Because I'm not. There's no way we're gonna have a conversation.
Tell me what we're not gonna do.
We're not gonna have a conversation.
I'm not here to have a conversation with you. I'm here to tell you stop playing with me.
You know what? I should have made you wait so
but
long.
you came. And I'm glad you came because you've been running. And I'm tired of running.
Bitch, your dusty ass ain't nobody to run from.
You keep running.
You keep running.
I'm tired of it.
Run your ass back to London and jump on that ride.
You gotta stop. Rasheeda, do you have a Google alert on me? You've been throwing out all the headlines on the blogs. You just keep throwing out this frivolous stuff and talking nonsense. Let's talk about the receipts. Let's talk about the stuff you've been saying in podcasts. Let's talk about these tapes. Let's talk about you pleading the fifth to this and pleading the fifth to that. Let's talk about that. And please stop talking about where my hoo-ha goes when you have a song called Legs to the Moon and your husband had to swab your baby. Let's keep it a buck.
Yandy,
that you got
you're so non-relevant. Your man goes around telling people he don't like you.
According to you, bitch, all you do is lie.
He's been telling us that.
All you do is
Girl,
lie.
you're the biggest liar I ever met in my life. You deflecting. Once again. You want to sit here and talk about me, your husband, your husband. What about your man? Yandy, you can't hold a candle to me. And even if a bitch try to throw one at me, I still stand on 10.
What really struck me is the way Yandy handled herself. She came into that conversation with history on her side. She reminded Rasheeda that when Jasmine was openly disrespecting the Frost marriage, she kept it classy. Yandy refused to even share space with Jasmine out of loyalty to Rasheeda. That's what a friend does. You protect your friend's marriage, their family, and their peace, even if it's uncomfortable. But now, when the tables turned and Yandy was the one going through something, Rasheeda didn't give that same loyalty back. Instead, she laughed, and that laugh said everything. It wasn't support, it wasn't sisterhood, it wasn't solidarity, it was a betrayal. Yandy wasn't going to let that slide, and this is where the gloves came off. The moment she brought up Kirk Frost swabbing Carter for a DNA test, the air got sucked out of the room. That was the kind of jab that cuts deeper than anything because it wasn't a made-up insult, it was real. Everybody knows Kirk's history. The cheating, the lies, the public humiliation Rasheeda had to endure. Those moments defined her storyline. Yandy hit her right where she's the weakest, her marriage. And let's be honest, when you've had your husband publicly embarrass you over and over again, the last thing you should be doing is laughing at another woman's pain. What's ironic is that Rasheeda has never shown this much fight when it actually mattered. Jocelyn Hernandez said it years ago, Rasheeda acts tough. But when the heat is really on, she doesn't do anything. K. Michelle humiliated her. Jasmine exposed Kirk's cheating. Kirk himself embarrassed her countless times, and Rasheeda just swallowed it. No tough talk, no clapbacks, just silence. But now, with Yandy, her so-called friend, she suddenly has all this energy? That's not strength, that's misplaced anger. Yandy flipped the entire argument on its head. The legs to the moon and baby swab read wasn't just funny, it was calculated. It reminded Rasheeda that she doesn't have the moral high ground to laugh at anybody. And that's why people saw Yandy as the winner in that moment. She didn't just defend herself, she reminded everyone of Rasheeda's truth. This scene also exposed how fragile their friendship really was. For years, it's been painted as sisterhood, but this moment showed that Rasheeda was never fully invested in Yandy the way Yandy was invested in her. When it came down to it, Rasheeda chose to mock instead of support. And honestly, that's why she ended up looking weaker in the end. Another thing worth pointing out is how Rasheeda and Kirk move whenever Yandy and Mendici step into the picture. There's a pattern. Every time they show up, Rasheeda and Kirk seem uncomfortable, almost like they're quick to leave the room. It's like they know they can't stand tall in front of people who have built their relationship on loyalty and respect. Because the Frost marriage has always been messy. Yandy didn't just check Rasheeda for laughing, she checked her entire approach to loyalty. She made it clear, you can't claim to be a friend when you only show up halfway. You can't clap for my downfall when I stood 10 toes down for you in your darkest moment. That's not friendship, that's fake support, and Yandy wasn't going to let that slide. By the end of the scene, the difference between the two women was clear. Yandy came out on top, reminding everyone that she doesn't back down and she knows how to defend herself with facts. Rasheeda, on the other hand, came out looking like someone who saves her energy for the wrong people. It still hasn't addressed the real problems in her life. This wasn't just a fight, it was an unmasking. Yandy showed the cracks in Rasheeda's loyalty, her marriage, and her reputation. And until Rasheeda decides to put that same fire into checking Kirk, Jasmine, and anybody else who has clowned her over the years, moments like this will only keep making her look weaker. Yandy stood on business, Rasheeda folded under pressure, and this episode will go down as one of the most revealing in the entire series.